I love it.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to the Cinema Goodness Podcast. I'm Kahim. This is JP. What's going on, JP?
Man, I am good. Nothing much. It's Friday, end of the week, weekend ahead. Lots of good things. I'm excited. What about you?
I'm good, man. It's a beautiful week, man. And like you said, the weekend is coming. So I'm excited about that. Today, we got a space themed episode, man. Today, we're leaving Earth, but not all for the same reasons. Today, we're going to be looking at Masters of the Universe trailer, looking at Myth, Power, Destiny. We're also going to be looking at Project Hail Mary. We got Science, Sacrifice, Survival, and we're going to be looking at the Artemis II launch, man. Real humans, real risk, real history, bro. Space is not just about discovery. It's about a lot of things, man. It's about exploring beyond the stars and identity and all of that good stuff, man. So we're gonna be taking a look at all of that stuff, man. And I'm excited, bro. Let's get into this episode. Let's get into the Cinema Goodness Podcast, man. Family, this is Kahim.
And I'm JP.
And this is the Cinema Goodness Podcast, where we talk movies, all things related to Hollywood,
including your favorite genres and upcoming projects. Join us here for an unbiased and unfiltered discussion from our unique perspective.
So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the Cinema Goodness. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. We're going to be looking at Masters of the Universe trailer, man. He-Man. He-Man. Are you a big He-Man fan?
You know, I was when I was a kid. I guess I grew out of it a little bit. It's one of the ones that I kind of got a little further away from, but I definitely remember screaming that I had the power.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Most definitely. That part I remember, but I'm gonna have to jog my memory a little bit, especially right before the movie comes out.
Yeah, man. The only thing I remember about it is Skeletor. You know what I'm saying? Skeletor. I think that's like they used to call like kids around the neighborhood Skeletor. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So
I have a hilarious Skeletor meme that I don't know if it's safe to share here. But yes, Skeletor. I definitely remember him.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get into it, bro. Here we go.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. There's
this obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
There's just Alba in this.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Take that sword.
Skeletor.
You protect them.
Get busy though. Nah, he look dope though.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Nice. That's not what we're looking at. All right. Oh, it looks nice, man. I love the style. I love the style. It looks really good, close to the cartoon. I love Skeletor's design, bro. I think it's gonna be fun.
Most definitely. His design, the eyes, the way they're set in the skull, all of that looks awesome. So I'm excited. And then they're gonna be doing some world building. So it looks, the look of it is cool. This falls into the fantasy genre here, not sci-fi. It has a little bit of sci-fi elements in it, but most definitely I'm excited. It looks like it's gonna be a good watch. I hope that they did a good job with the writing and the acting, so that it matches the visuals. Because a lot of times you get a movie, great visuals, and then you kind of let down by how they actually, how
deliver it.
How they deliver it. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, man. So do you think it's for like fans, or do you think it's for like the new generation of people who have no idea about He-Man and all of that stuff?
If they want to be successful, they need to do both.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they just depend on people who are huge He-Man fans, I think, why would you cut out, all of those other people that may not necessarily be a He-Man fan? So, I mean, definitely get all of us, because, unless you are so, it's one of your top things that you really love, like me, I can just remember the basics. I remember Lion-O and He-Man and She-Ra and, Skeletor. I mean, basics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, if you want to bring me in, making it so that I don't have to, go back and watch the whole cartoon to catch up is a good idea.
Right. I'm with it.
What about you?
I'm with it. I agree. They got to do both if they're trying to attract a big audience, because a lot of people don't remember He-Man. But I think it's gonna be good, man.
I agree.
All right, man. Let's move on to Project Hail Mary. Surprisingly good film for me. I was pleasantly surprised in the theater. I saw that runtime and I was like, y'all gotta bring it 2 hours and some change, bro. You gotta bring it. But it was surprisingly good, man. Let's look into it, man.
And did you have any expectations going in?
No, I was more anxious to see how they was gonna bring this rock alien into the movie. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That was the only thing. I'm like, where did this alien come from? Because I seen the trailer and I was just like, that was like random to me. But when it all came together, it was pretty nice. Nice little package for me.
Absolutely. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations. I thought the previews were good. It was enough to pique my interest, because you already know I love sci-fi. And this is absolutely in the realm of sci-fi, because it's them figuring out how to essentially save the world. So most definitely, I'm glad that I even though I did not know it was going to be that long. When I was buying my ticket, I saw that and I was like, now wait a minute. I didn't know
right.
This was going to be almost a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But it was worth it. It's worth it. Now, let's get the synopsis. Project Hail Mary is a 2026 American science fiction film produced and directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, and written by Drew Goddard, based on the 2021 novel by Andy Weir. It stars Ryan Gosling, who also produced the film alongside Weir, as the protagonist, Ryland Grace, Dr. Ryland Grace, a man who awakens on an interstellar spacecraft with no memory of how he got there. He discovers he's on a suicide mission to save Earth from a star-eating organism, the astrophage. He partners with a solitary alien, Rocky, to solve the solar crisis. The film also stars Sandra Hüller, James Ortiz, and Lionel Boyce.
Yeah, man. Project Hail Mary. One man, one mission, one last chance to save Earth. It's pretty good, man. The Awakening, Act 1. Imagine you're waking up realizing that you're the only one left. We open in silence, no memory, no context, just Ryland Grace floating in the void. Two of his crewmates are dead. His mission is unknown. His identity is gone. The ship feels less like a vessel and more like a floating coffin. Then memories drip back in. He's a middle school science teacher. The Earth is dying. Something called astrophage is draining the sun. A microscopic alien parasite draining the sun's energy, threatening Earth with an ice age. Humanity doesn't send just a hero. They send someone who has basically nothing to lose and probably the only one that could survive. This isn't a chosen one story. It's basically you're all we've got. Then Grace detects a spaceship nearby, an alien vessel named Blip A. What'd you think about the opening, man? Like the whole, he wakes up and then he can't move. They pull the things out of his face and he just like don't know what's going on.
So first of all, the beginning is both hilarious and shocking because you're watching these robotic arms and images that are trying to help him, and the system trying to help him, but he is so groggy and out of it. He's essentially like running away.
Yeah, trying to
he doesn't know what's going on. That part is so hilarious. But realizing that he is essentially in a tomb with two dead bodies, that was very tough. That was hard. So we get that right in the jump that he is alone, and the people who were the pilot and stuff like that he was going to be depending on, he was supposed to be the person dealing with the science, not flying the ship.
Yeah.
And so now he's on his own. So you get this hilarious, laugh out loud moments, and then that's juxtaposed to him realizing he's in there with dead bodies and all alone. So yeah, I thought it was a great opening.
Yeah. So the thing I liked about it is like the whole amnesia part, but it slowly starts to come back to him. But the way they did it is also letting the audience know what's going on. So it's kind of like we're all finding out at the same time about why he's there, what's going on. And I thought that was clever because the fact that they're out in space, it's not much you can do in the spaceship. Like it could get boring really fast. So the fact that they kept going back and filling in the blanks as he's realizing his purpose there was a nice touch, man.
And I didn't catch as I was watching it. I was understanding that they were giving us more, but it didn't immediately dawn on me that although we're watching these actions happening, he's actually coming to these memories are coming back to him also at the same time. Because at one point I'm like, okay, well, he knows he's here, so he knows. I mean, what more can they show us? And the fact that they're being so deliberate in how they lay out how everything happened, even all the way to the very end, where I'm thinking, well, now what more can you say? I mean, he's on the ship. So, I mean, all of it, it was very well done. So the way it was written, the way it was directed and put together, excellent. Now, this is from a book. Interestingly enough, this is the second in the series from Andy Weir. The first one was The Martian, actually.
Okay.
So this is the second one, and the third book is Artemis, which, funny enough, we're talking about the Artemis II mission. So, absolutely, the way they laid that out, and I've not read, the Project Hail Mary book, but I don't know if that's how the book was written. So I can't give that credit to Andy Weir, being ignorant. If that's how he wrote it, bravo.
Yeah.
If that's how it was directed and written for the screenplay for this movie, bravo. Because it absolutely kept you in. And as those details are being, added, and we all find out together, I think it makes the viewing experience much better.
Real talk, man. I like that. Act 2, First Contact. Space stops being empty. It starts being shared, cohabitated, if you will. Enter Rocky. Not a villain, not a threat. He's a 5-legged, music-speaking engineer from another dying world. And just like that, the movie flips. This isn't isolation anymore. It's about connection. They build a language from scratch, which was dope.
I love that. That was a hilarious scene. The way they worked it out, and then how they selected his voice.
Yeah.
Funny stuff.
They solve problems together. Science becomes their friendship. Then it flashbacks. Flashback shows a global effort to build Project Hail Mary at breaknecking speed. Grace assists in the scientific research but remains reluctant in the participation. He insists he's not an astronaut. Then comes the mission. They lose. I think it was like engineers and like another pilot. So by default, he has to go. And that kind of like he's fighting this. He's like, I'm not an astronaut. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And that was a really interesting flashback because they kind of pay it off more in Act 3, which was nice. It was crazy because I'm like, how did he end up there? But then comes yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say that the way they described it, essentially it was a calculation error. Where they miscalculated the amount of fuel for the test that they were running and essentially created a humongous explosion that killed the other scientists from the other countries that were supposed to actually be on the mission.
Right.
And that's what opened up the spot for Dr. Ryland or Grace to end up there. Funny enough, he had actually trained everybody the whole time. He had led the whole mission for the most part as far as getting them ready to go.
Yeah. So a part of me already thought that he was going anyway, but I guess like in the midst of him training people, I guess they felt like people was more qualified to actually go in outer space because they did like the training and all of that. But he did. But then comes the mission, Adrian. A dangerous planet, the prize, Taumiba, a predator astrophage. It eats astrophage and it guards the planet from being consumed by astrophage. It's risky, it's chaotic, and it nearly kills them both, but it works. And this was like, you always got that scene that like the climax in the where everything starts going wrong. The thing I liked about this is they kind of work together, and Grace was like super nervous about flying the I was about to say the plane, but the spaceship, and Rocky actually kind of helps him, and the relationship that they built was kind of like the highlight of the film for me, because the way that they framed it. Like first they learn the language, and then they develop this kind of chemistry and the sarcasm with how they start talking. And Rocky's kind of like the comic relief in this sense, and that's something that I kind of like enjoyed about the relationship that they built. This is where the movie sneaks up on you. It's not just about saving Earth; it's about not being alone. And Rocky, we come to find out during this part that this is a one-way mission for Grace. And one of my favorite scenes is like when he's talking about, I'm okay with it, I made peace with it. And then Rocky says, how much astrophage do you need to get back home? He tell him, and then he said, I could give it to you, so you can make it home. And he like breaks down crying and stuff, and Rocky was like, "I thought you was okay with it. I thought you was at peace." He's like, "I didn't mean any of that," And I was like, "Yeah, it was like,
that's what people say.
yeah."
It's,
It's just like I gotta make myself believe like I'm doing this, for the and if I don't come up with that like assumption in my mind, I'm not gonna be able to follow all the way through. You know what I'm saying? I'm a kind of like go crazy, But it was dope. It was dope.
Man, that connection, that right there is this the through line of the movie. Because it is not it's man, it's the best part of the movie, I feel like, because you think he's alone in the beginning, you come to find out they have this connection because the astrophage is threatening all of the suns, all of the stars, except for this one star where their mission is taking them to, so they can figure out why this star isn't being impacted. And so to see, them, I won't say have such a human moment, but it's not the right word because only one of them is human. But I mean, it's real, that connection that they experience, and I guess it's kind of hard to explain this part because he's dealing with this alien, but they're the same essentially. And I think the message it sends to me is that although we have differences, we are all, for the most part, we're all trying to survive in this world. So I think that's the best part. That's the best part of this movie. And then finding out that Rocky can save him, so it's not a suicide mission.
Yeah. It's a nice payoff. The thing I like, another part about this specific act, outside of the relationship, is the effects of the planet, Adrian, like how they made it look, the glowing, the greens and the purples, and it was really nice. But I got a sense of like Star Trek in a way.
Okay.
Just kind of like the way it looked, the way the ship was moving, the way it was flying and stuff. It was just real something nostalgic about it. Even at the towards the beginning, about like when he was flying, trying to like get away from Rocky's ship at first, and the way it was like moving through space, and then it kind of connected, and then it started spinning. So they could kind of like regulate the gravity and stuff. It was pretty nice, man. It was pretty nice.
Now, you know what? I had a question about that, and I don't know if the movie answered this, so maybe you have the answer. Why did they use the American, the human ship? Why did they use his ship instead of Rocky's ship to get to collect the sample that they needed to fight the astrophage? Because it seems like to me now, and maybe I missed this, and we didn't say this earlier, so this is important. Yeah. It's not just Dr. Grace who lost people. In fact, Rocky's ship lost more people. More. He had like 37 crewmen die on their way, and he was the only one to survive on his ship as well. So I don't know if he was the one who had the expertise of flying his ship. It seemed like he knew how to proficiently fly it, but I had that question in my mind. It seemed like his ship was more capable than the human ship, and I was wondering why they did not use his ship instead. Did they say that in the movie?
No, maybe. Okay, so this is my thing. I feel like Grace's ship was easier for Rocky to move around in and be a part of, because when Grace stuck his hand through that little thing where they was sharing different items, he stuck his hand in there, it was super hot. So I think it was more. Right. I think it was more. Yeah, I just think it was more. It was easier for Rocky to get over there because he built that little ball and he just started rolling, and he went in there, and it was just like.
You're 100% right. So essentially, the environment of Rocky's ship would have been harder for Dr. Grace to survive in.
Yeah.
Versus the vice versa. Rocky could easily survive and adapt in the U.S. I got it now. It makes perfect sense because they can more easily work together. I had forgotten about that detail when you open that drawer. You're right.
But now that you bring it up, that was pretty cool. The fact that they built like the spheres and like the little compartments for Rocky to like move in out of. Like I thought that was really cool. Nice little detail that they added in there. That was really nice. It was pretty cool, man.
Now that was Rocky's people's technology that allowed that, because if you remember, his technology is more advanced, and that's why I had the question as to why we didn't use his ship. But I'm clear now. But if you remember, when Rocky first came over to Ryland Grace's ship, he didn't know he was coming.
Yeah.
Rocky had made his own ball, and he had the I'm assuming some sort of 3D printing device that creates all the panels. And so he created his own little sphere that he could move around in. And when Ryland Grace opened the door, he's like, I didn't know you were coming. And he just busts past him. That is another hilarious scene where he's just making all these comments like, oh, dirty, nasty. It was like, I didn't know anybody was coming by.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You know, I have to say that when a movie can, we understand the circumstance. This is like they're trying to save the world, so it's serious. But when you can catch the audience off guard with humor that doesn't seem forced, it's an A+ for me.
Yeah, man, for sure. Act 3, the choice. The truth changes everything. The final memory hits. Grace didn't just volunteer for this mission. He was forced into it. The hero is a fraud. Or is he? At the same time, Rocky's ship is dying. The fuel is gone. He's stranded. Now the real decision comes: to go home and be remembered as a savior, or turn around. Save one friend or save yourself. Grace chooses Rocky. He sends the data-filled probes back to Earth and flies back to rescue his friend. Connection over recognition. I thought that was a dope scene because, like, on one end, you kind of like surprised Grace is even on his way back home, right? So you think it's all.
He wasn't supposed to make it home.
He wasn't supposed to make it home. So the fact that he's on his way home, he's like, okay, it's going to work out. But what else is going to happen? Because the movie's still going, right? And then we get this alarm waking Grace up out of his sleep, and there's a leak. And then Grace realizes that if the leak is happening on his ship, it's most definitely happening on Rocky's ship, and it could be even worse for Rocky. So he makes that decision, and it goes back to something that was in the movie. Like, Grace doesn't know if he's brave or not. He don't think he could be the hero that the world needs. But kind of like at every turn, he's proven himself wrong, and that's kind of like, I like that arc, that little specific piece of his arc. He doubts himself, but he proves himself wrong. Like, and it's like a conflict of humanity. And I thought that was really cool, man. And he gets back to the ship and he's beating on the door. He thinks Rocky is dead. He don't know what's going on, and Rocky walks up to the little the glass. I'm gonna say glass, and and he's like, "I'm here, buddy." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice. That's nice." And
well, you have to, and we didn't talk about it. We have to book. This is the bookend, because in the midst of them getting the sample, Ryland almost dies. And it takes Rocky risking his life to save Ryland because of this connection that they made. They're both alone and, trying to save their planet. So that scene where Rocky has to exit his bubble in order to save Ryland, and literally the very atmosphere is burning him. You see him smoking and sizzling, and but he's still able to get him into the little auto dock thing and save his life. And we think Rocky has died. This is earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
So Ryland Grace wakes up and he sees all the evidence. He sees this trail of burnt, it's like burnt flesh, I guess, or burnt, whatever Rocky is made out of. And he finds Rocky made it back into, the little enclosure, but he is like nearly lifeless. And he just stays there with him, trying to make sure he has optimal, environment to stay alive. Once he figures out that he's still alive, he's like, I'm not going to let you die. This part of the movie was serious. This is like tearjerker.
Yeah,
Rocky, we fall in love with Rocky.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah, man. They did a good job with that.
Yeah. And props. The Rocky was not CGI. Okay.
Right.
Rocky was a physical puppet. And the puppeteer was James Ortiz that I mentioned in the synopsis earlier. So he not only was a puppeteer, he was also the voice of Rocky for the movie. And when I tell you, he did a great job.
Yeah.
To say that they did an actual physical suit and being controlled by a puppeteer is amazing.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't tell.
Yeah, for sure, man. A lot of times we do the CGI, and this becomes so much a part of film. You kind of forget about the puppeteers and the people that's like
practical.
The practical effects and stuff like that. So, yeah, man.
What's your thought on that though? Because this is your field.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing, man. I think, like you said, keeping the old art alive, because that is a old art. CGI is more newer and it's more cost effective, but you can kind of see that stuff still works, man. And I don't want to jump off track, but the conversation around AI and how that's going into industries and stuff. But you gotta believe that, yes, technology going to evolve, things like that, but there's still a place for traditional methods, traditional uses, and like the practical stuff, the stuff you can touch and feel. It's always going to be there, and something like this just proves it, man, because it just makes you fall in love with that stuff even more. The way he was moving and walking around and stuff, it was great, man. And James, you said his name was James Ortiz. Yeah, he did a phenomenal job, man. Working that puppet.
And I don't know if practical effects are cheaper than CGI. I feel like CGI has blown up like movie budgets because of how much in-depth CGI they're having to do. And if you look the number of, literally thousands of people involved in pulling out the CGI of these movies nowadays. I don't know. I feel like the practical effects probably may be cheaper, but I know that they still have to augment those practical effects with CGI at the same time, because there are some things that they have to, erase as it comes to, especially with a puppeteer type thing. Yeah. But one thing about it, when you're using a practical effect, I feel like you get the texture more, because sometimes with CGI, even though you have all of these layers in these images, in these videos, it still can come off as fake. Yeah. When you have something that's physical that actually you can touch in real life, it feels different. It comes off different on the screen. So I mean, props to them. There's a few other movies that have started, movie either directors or producers that are utilizing physical practical effects in addition to CGI. And I think it has a great effect. I think they did some of that with the Godzilla -1, and they won awards for that because that was that depiction of Godzilla, how the look of it, the texture of the skin, all those things. So I think that's super important, and I mean it's a give and take. I like the practical use. I think for this movie, it added to it. And as you brought up how he moves looks so fluid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it didn't look like how you see AI moving. So I love that part.
Yeah.
But back to my whole point that brought us here. This was a bookend because Rocky had saved Rylan. When we come to find out that the solid form of xenon that that Rocky's species uses to create containers and to create different 3D printed things, they use that to create the container that they're using to hold this amoeba. And when he makes that realization, well, dang, Rocky's ship runs on this stuff. The amoeba that we caused to evolve can break out of that physical xenon. So that's when he made that decision to go back and save Rocky. So it's two sides. It's a mirror to me, but it's beautiful.
It is.
And here's the thing: Rylan is an anti-hero. I feel like, even though he's a hero at the same time, I feel like when the memory came back that they had drugged him and forced him into this, I think that decision, that realization of the decision that they made to force him into this, also factored into him going to save Rocky.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he kind of felt like there was nothing for him to go back to. They sent me to my death.
Right. Yeah, man, I agree. That was a powerful scene. The fact that because you see him kind of refusing to go, and then they forced him, they drugged him stuff. Say that again.
I said, "Oh, he ran. They had to chase him."
Oh yeah, they hawked him down, man. But like that's why I said he, at every turn, even in space, he was doubting himself and like not really sure he could do it. But he kept proving himself wrong, and I think that was just a great piece of his arc that they added. And even like when we get towards the end, that we just gonna get to, years later, Earth survives, and Grace is shown living in this special like biodome, and he's teaching like the alien kids science. You know what I'm saying?
Arid on his planet, Arid. Yes.
Yeah, man.
That was cool to see those kids all jumping around and acting like kids, but they were Iridian kids.
Yeah. It's like we and Rocky was like, okay, the scientists have figured out, they worked everything out. We could go ahead and send you home. And he was like, man, can I think about it? Basically, do I really want to go back to my life? Like I have something so amazing here, and there's something so new. I thought that was really nice as well. But yeah, it was a beautiful story, man. Like a lot of the space movies, they're just like overcoming this big threat. It's not so much connection and stuff. Like you have those vulnerable moments and stuff like that, but I think that this one sticks with me because it was so unexpected. You have this other side, this alien side, and they both have the same goal, is to save their planet, and they come together and figure it out. There's something so unique about that, and it speaks to something that's going on. Down here and on Earth, man, people have different perspectives, different lives. But imagine what would happen if we all came together in the pursuit of one common goal. So much can be achieved, like overcoming languages and beliefs and barriers, and just coming together for that goal. It creates something unique, man. So that's really what I loved about the film. That's kind of like the message I got out of it. A lot of entertainment value for being in space with one person. Outside of that, the message was really nice, man.
It was. I 100% agree. And the funny thing is, it's definitely talking about where we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's talking about where we are right now. Because if at that very first scene, he's afraid. And I think fear is one of the biggest things that people use as a wedge to pit people against each other. It's fear because Ryland Grace is running away from Rocky. He don't even know nothing about Rocky.
Right.
He's made a prejudgment, and he doesn't know that that's going to be his saving grace. That's going to be who helps him to solve this. But his first instinct, his human instinct, is to be afraid. And people who use fear that way, we see it all the time. That is something that people use to split people apart. That's why when I see that, I try to speak out against it. Anything that has you pitting yourself against other people that really you have no qualms with, that will put you in an adversarial situation, that's not a good thing. That's why I hate the man versus women thing that you see on social media. It's like it's an agenda.
Right.
Because why are y'all wanting us to always be fighting each other?
Right. For sure, man. For sure.
I'm like, every time I'm like, no, I'm not sharing that. Because that's not it at all.
So earlier I said it reminds me of Star Trek. I meant Star Wars.
Star Wars, okay.
Yeah, just to fix that. It reminds me of Star Wars. But yeah, what would you rate this film, man?
You know, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a 9 for me.
Okay. I was at 8.5, so I'm not too far off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Trying to
now,
put more.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
The actress who is leading the international response to the astrophage crisis, she's being played by Sandra Hüller, the German actress.
Okay.
So here's my question for you. You're in Sandra Hüller's position. You're leading an international response to save the very world. Are you going to drug and put Ryland Grace in this, essentially what will be his coffin? Would you do it?
I don't know. I'm not a terrible person that way. That's
Wait a minute, hold
man.
on. Before you answer, do you feel like she was a terrible person?
I think in that moment she was a terrible person, man. Because you basically sending somebody to their death. You know, that didn't volunteer, because you had people that volunteered to do it. So I think in that moment she was a terrible person. I don't think overall she was a terrible person, but I think she made, I don't know, man. It's tough. That's a moral dilemma. Because like I said, huh?
That's why I asked that question. It is absolutely a moral dilemma.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, it worked out. It worked out. Everything worked out in the end. But it just in that moment, the fact that she was so cold about it, and she was just like, "You gotta go." He's like, "I can't do it." He crying and stuff, and she's just like cold face, like, you know.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna answer this question early because you always ask this, and I'm gonna tell you right now. She is got to be the my mind is slipping.
Yeah, she is.
She's the
most punchable, bro.
Oh no, you said most punchable. Okay. I wasn't gonna say most punchable.
Okay.
I was gonna say that she is. What is the other one? Not most punchable.
Okay, let me see. We got the MVP, unsung hero, best art,
Unsung hero.
unsung hero.
I'm calling her the. I know it's controversial, but let me tell you something. They casted her perfectly because she's a German actress. She plays that flat, droll, like I mean, you can tell she is as serious as the grave, for real.
Oh yeah,
she's not playing with you. She means what she says. They gave her one little moment, you know, where they had some downtime. She did some karaoke, and people were like, "Oh wow, she can pull off." And then right after that, she sent Ryland Grace on that mission and drug his behind and put him on that spaceship to go to his death. She wasn't playing it. She has to be the unsung hero for me.
Okay. She's most punchable for me. But you know, that speaks to like faith and hope, putting more faith in seeing something in somebody else that they don't see in themselves. You know, she had a feeling that he could do it. You know, he was doubting himself at every turn, but she was so sure in his ability because she ended up seeking him out in the beginning. He didn't seek them out. She sought him out, and then you know she challenged him, and you know she had faith in him, and for that I could kind of understand why you're saying that she was unsung hero. But the fact that she trapped my boy and put him in a coma that he didn't volunteer to be in was terrible, bro. That was a terrible move on her end, but at the same time, it worked out for the greater good of humanity. Now, if he would have died, that would have made me feel like she's even more of a terrible person. But you know, sometimes in these movies, going back to like movies like Armageddon, you know, somebody has to make that sacrifice, and she felt that Grace had the ability to do it, and the security guard was like, you know who you are, you got this, you know, and that was just that's tough, man. That's a tough position to be in. So yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, man.
So this brings us to a little bit of a comparison because we've got space in the movies. We've got movies like Project Hail Mary, Interstellar, The Martian, and then we've got real life because America just sent people to the moon, to orbit the moon for the first time in many, many decades. That any humans have gone out to the moon. So it kind of opens up this comparison that you have, this, you know, thought experiment between how does Project Hail Mary, first of all, how does it compare against some of the top tier, you know, movies about space and saving the world, such as Interstellar and The Martian. By the way, The Martian is also done by Andy Weir, written by Andy Weir. And then we'll compare it to real life as well. So let's start with the movies. What is your thought? And there can be some others. I just named those two because they're top of mind.
Yeah, I would say I think I touched on it earlier. I just feel like this one is just a little bit more unique because the threat is there, but I think the angle at which they attack it is just a lot different. Two beings from different planets coming together to solve a universal problem was something that I really enjoyed. With other movies, you know, they had this threat and they go out and they save the world, you know, or they don't save the world, you know. So, you know, very few they don't save the world, but eventually they save the world. You know, somebody sacrifices themselves for the greater good. But I think this one just had a little bit more, I don't want to say humanity, because they, like you said, it's like it's alien part to it. But I like this iteration of this story. I like the way they attacked it, and it was entertaining. I like the flashbacks. It kept people engaged, and then at the end, it added another kind of caveat to it, to where he was forced to do it. So I like The Martian. I remember Interstellar briefly, but this one is kind of like at the top for me, you know. And I like Ryan Gosling. I think he did a great job with the main character, being the main character, just being this scientist. You know, he was just challenged at every situation, and you know, a lot of human stakes are part of it. Yeah, so it's at the top for me. It's at the top.
And let me tell you, I recently watched. Recently, he didn't make the last month or so, Interstellar again. And I will say this: they're neck and neck, and for some of the same reasons that you have enumerated, I feel like this movie is better. Now, let me explain why I feel that way, because this is also true for The Martian as well. I think that those movies lean on the disaster more than the connection. The disaster is there, the save the world is there in this movie, but they take us a step beyond that. And because they aren't relying on, you never see, what is happening to the earth while this is going on.
Right.
We see what is happening in this particular interaction and what they're doing, two beings both trying to save their own planets. So I feel that's where it takes it a step further, because when you are relying, and I love disaster movies, don't get me wrong. Big explosions and all of these, apocalyptic things happening can be a crutch to your story just as much as they are a benefit to your story. If you don't have, a really strong cast and, script. So
Right.
I feel like where this movie took it a step further, they didn't rely on, all of those effects. They relied on really focusing on that connection. And because of that, I feel like they took it a step further. I don't know what the awards, will do on it. I feel like it probably will be receiving some awards when its time comes. But I really enjoyed this one. I feel like Interstellar was just too bleak.
Yeah.
It was more bleak on the bleak side, and that's top of mind because like I said, I recently watched it. I mean, just most of the movie is bad news, and you don't get that little levity that comes in that helps you to understand these are real people going through this. It's just dire the whole time. So that's why I would say I think this one takes all of that and takes it a step further. And then I think the icing on the cake is exactly what you said. This guy wasn't some ex-Marine.
Yeah.
He was reluctant, but he was a regular person doing what he knew was right to do.
Yeah.
And I think that showed his character more than everything. When he ran, I think that's just as much, that's human.
Yeah.
They made a big thing like, you don't have any wife, you don't have any kids, so what do you have to lose? But at the same time, he's a human and you're telling him he's going to die. So yeah, I like this one for that very reason. Now, I think we're on the same page. I don't know if you've been seeing this, but the Artemis II mission, where we're sending people back to the moon, it has inspired a lot of people, but it has also created some consternation. I've seen some conspiracy theorist people out there getting all flustered. I've seen the flat earthers getting flustered. I've seen the original moon landing people denying that it ever happened. And the reason that I think that's happening is because people feel like we should be further along than we are. What do you think about that?
Further along, I just think even still there's so much uncertainty in the galaxy, man. I think humans are scratching just like that's all they could do. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much out there that we just don't know. And I think humans have this inclination or proclivity to think that we are bigger than we are, man. It's just we're not. we're so small in the magnitude of things, where we just have no idea we just have no idea, man. So it's tough, man. I think things like this are just proving how much we don't know, because it takes years to plan stuff like this. And people, they go on for 10 days. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to think about, man. And that's why people get paid the way they do. People train the way they do. And I think it's just a huge undertaking. I think it says a lot about the people who kind of sacrifice the years and the time it takes to go out there and explore what is possibly out there. Because like we said, I don't know. We don't know. And to think that is a slight to God, if you believe in that. And it's tough, man. It's tough to think about. It's
Yeah,
challenging.
that's a
Go ahead.
beautiful point. The
Yeah.
point you just made, to think that you know when you don't really know, it definitely is a slight to God. That's a
Yeah.
bar.
um,
Let me tell you, I will say this. I do want to just make this note. Yes, it was a 10-day lunar flyby mission. Then we're talking about the Artemis II mission, launched on April 1st. They actually splashed down about an hour before we started our recording today, and they splashed down safely, thank God, in the Pacific Ocean. It was led by NASA. This is Artemis II. They did send an uncrewed capsule that was able to do a flyby and come back without any people to test that people would be safe. And then this particular mission, this included Victor Glover, African American. He was the pilot, became the first person of color. Christina Koch, the first woman. Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, the first non-U.S. citizen, and Commander Reed Wiseman, the oldest person to travel beyond low Earth orbit and near the moon. And during their lunar flyby, the crew set the record for human distance from Earth, 252,756 miles, breaking Apollo 13's record of just under 240,000 miles, 250,000 miles. Here's what I will say about it, and the thing that people have to understand: history is so important when it comes to this stuff. A lot of people are questioning, why aren't we further along than we should be? Let's think about where we are in the world right now. Capitalism and greed controls almost everything. That's not just a United States thing. That's everywhere. So if capitalism and greed is controlling everything, and these types of missions take into the trillions of dollars to pull off, and many, many, many decades to pull off, why are we sending people? What is the impetus that makes us send people on these missions? Do you think it's just goodwill? It has never been goodwill. The first time we sent people was because of the Cold War. We thought the Russians were going to conquer space before the Americans, and because we were in a Cold War, after they put Sputnik out there and then they sent a dog into space, we had to send people into space. And so the race was on. So essentially, war, these superpowers fighting for position, jockeying for control of space, is what sent people to the moon the first time. Well, why in 2026 are we? And not in 2026, they've been planning the Artemis missions for years. So why are we going back? Who's the big bad this time? China. It's not because of goodwill. It's not a distraction. It's because it's not Russia. Russia is very much diminished on the world stage, even though they are a huge enemy ultimately to America. And they have a lot of power and they have nukes, but it's China. And because China said they were going to not only land on the moon and take samples, which they have already done, and brought them back to Earth, which even we haven't done, remotely in many, many, many decades. But they said they were going back to the moon. They were going to build a base. And guess what? Now we're going back to the moon, and Artemis 2, it's 2 for a reason, because there's going to be Artemis 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 until they get to build a moon base. And why? Because they're trying to beat China to the moon. That's what this is about, guys. So, I say that to say, for all the people who are like, why haven't we done this? Because we didn't have a reason to. We did not have an adversary. That's why, in a lot of these spaces, the best way to get people to work together is to give them a common enemy.
Right.
We're gonna fight amongst each other until you threaten both of us. Then we're gonna join together to accomplish something. Well, that's essentially what's happening. We're coming together. We're finding the money to do what we need to do because we want to beat China up there. And they know that there's probably precious metals on the moon. There's water on the moon. There's this, that, and the other. That's something for some rich person to make money on the back end trust. But That's why we haven't been. And who's going to send an astronaut to the moon when nobody, it's not just us, nobody has sent an astronaut to the moon in 40 years or more. That means they're going to take step by step. And before we know it, we'll be back.
Yeah. There's going to be a war on the moon.
Right?
There's going to be a war on the moon. So we're going to have a war on the moon, man. It's crazy to think about.
There's belief that there is like serious precious metals like gold and stuff like that on the moon.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, these people are trying to get up there. What's going to tell you? It's about power and all these different things that are happening. And one thing I will say, I know all that stuff, but I'm still inspired. I was this morning. I was like, man, they're gonna be splashing down today. I wanted to be safe. I don't want nobody to be hurt. Victor has been preaching from the darn space capsule all over Easter. The whole time they've been going. Every time they gave that black man microphone, he was saying something. I was like, now get in your Bible, man. You're preaching from space. This is the first evangelism from space, right here.
Yeah, God is good, man. Yeah, bro, it's amazing to think about, like where we came from, and whether you believe it or not, man. I think as a species, humanity has progressed a lot, bro, and we just got so much more to learn and to explore, and I think that's a part of it. Like I don't really think about, we should be further along. It's just the fact that we've done it, just we've went to the moon. Even if China as a human experience has been to the moon, you know what I'm saying? That's just amazing to me. And I think if more people thought about it as like we should come together and really figure out what we can do as a collective, it will be much more beneficial. Because if aliens come, they're not thinking, oh, this is China, we're gonna save China, or we gonna come and take over China. Like they come to take over the world. They come to do this to the human race. Like,
we might need some aliens. Maybe we'll start fighting each other and start working together.
Yeah, maybe we need that. We need that, man. Yeah, man. Good discussion. All right, man. Cinema Goodness Hall of Fame. Who's the MVP?
Oh, gosh. The MVP for this, I'm going to give it to the Orion crew who just splashed down on the Artemis II mission. I just gave all their names a minute ago. They're on the record books, farthest away from Earth. So they're going to be my MVPs for this episode.
Sounds good. I'm gonna go with Rocky, man. Without Rocky, I think Grace would have been assed out, bro. I think he would have been assed out, man. So I'm gonna say the MVP is Rocky, bro. He gave him the information. He helped him come together with a plan, and he saved him. Gave him the astral phase so he could try to make it home and all that stuff. Life when they was at Adrian, and I thought he broke his neck or something, man. We smashed against that screen like that. So outside of real life, of course, Orion is amazing. For the film, I'm gonna say Rocky.
And for the film, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you for the film, but just as a whole, I'm giving my props to the Orion crew. But most definitely, when it comes to the movie, Rocky.
Yeah, man. Slingshot, 10 Days to the Moon. It's amazing. Unsung Hero, you already said yours. I'm gonna say the sound design. The sound design for Rocky. His like coming over his voice, and just like when he was asking him what's his mate's name, and he's like sung his mate's name, and it was just like it was amazing.
That was beautiful, wasn't it? Like there was no other way to say it. There was no short version. It was like, no, I got to sing this song. That's her name.
That's her name, man. Best arc.
best art has to be Ryland Grace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Has to be.
Yep. Most iconic moment.
Ooh. I'm gonna say when they were at the planet collecting the amoeba, that sequence right there, because it was harrowing, and it put both of their lives in danger, but they were able to get it done. Yeah, right there.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. I like that one.
Same for you?
Yep,
Okay.
I like that. And the most punchable. Do you have one?
Oh man. Donald Trump calling the astronauts in space. Most punchable.
Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna go with the director lady. I forget her name, but what was her name in the movie? I lost it.
You didn't like her?
I liked her, man. I just think that was just a shitty choice for her, man. I think they could have did something else. I didn't like that part. He forced my man. Like, she really put my man in a coma, bro.
Yes, she was Eva Stratt, played by Sandra Hüller.
Yeah, Eva Stratt. I like the character, but it's still a punchable character for me. Still. All right, man. All three stories, fantasy, film, and reality, ask the same question. What are you willing to sacrifice to move humanity forward? Space doesn't just test our intelligence, it tests our humanity. And that's the end of this episode, family. I like this one, man. This was a good one, bro.
Me too.
Yeah, man. All right, family. If you want us to watch, review a film, animation, whatever it is, put it down in the comments. Be sure to check it out. If you watched Project Hail Mary, if you have any thoughts about science exploration, all of that good stuff, put it in the comments, family. We love to engage with you. Love to talk to you. Let us know what you think. Anything else, JP?
No, man. Great episode. Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine and be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Being rich.
Peace.